Hello and welcome to our stream today. This is Luke. We are currently waiting for the game to start, so I guess we'll just kind of wait for it. And while we wait for it, I guess we can go over just a few things that we learned from the match with Georgia State. Things that we wanted to watch was that Jari was getting punished in the jungle. It was tough for him to play from behind and catch up in the end, and that helped lead to their demise. So we're going to be looking for Jari to be playing the jungle and for him to be able to capitalize on all the dragons. Second thing we learned is that the Aquinas team was struggling to play from behind, and that's something that I'm sure they've been working on. Mentality is a huge part of that, and just working as a team. Great. I'm sure the communication will be much better. And Tommy just joined me over here.
Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. There was a little bit of a delay to the start of the game, so it was originally at 6:30, but we are just getting started now. Jari is alive. Yes, indeed, he is.
What a blessing to have him here.
Yeah, so we do apologize for the late start on the game itself and especially the stream. But we don't want to keep you waiting. As we see here, we have a Rumble pick on the side of Colorado Boulder, and Senna and Orn being picked up for the side of Aquinas Saints. I would naturally believe that Senna is going to find its way to Aquinas' Jay Freeze and Orn to It's John in the top lane. It's John has a comfort pick on Orn, but as of currently has been using Set to his advantage. And we see that there is an Aphelios and Nautilus pick. I believe that will just be the bot lane in general for Colorado Boulder. Nautilus has only seen support play as of recent, whereas he used to dominate mid actually as a tanky yet AP hybrid mage in the mid lane. But the OGs recall of the top lane Nautilus monster that he used to be. We're finishing the second phase bans here. We see a Silas ban on the side of Aquinas and a Misfortune ban. To note, Misfortune is arguably one of the top ADCs in this current meta as we see League of Legends, in the sense of success, win percentage, pick percentage, ban percentage, all around the board. So not a surprising ban here.
It looks like Colorado Boulder saw that the mid was missing and banned out the Fizz. The Akali's already been banned. I think they're targeting Keelan with these ones.
Typical. Keelan finds himself banned out a lot in these games, but he hopes that one day things will change.
So we're on to our last ban before we get our last four picks. What's still looking to be available will be Colorado Boulder's mid and jungle, and really the same for Aquinas.
When it comes to jungle on the Aquinas side, I'm not actually quite sure what they're looking to pick tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if we have another comfort pick for Jari when it comes back to Lee Sin or J4. But the Aquinas Saints might hesitate when it comes to picking up those champions once again due to the difficulty found playing them previously earlier this week.
And there's the Lee Sin
comfort pick. There is the Lee Sin comfort pick. As we see, the person left to pick for the Aquinas Saints is Keelan. When put in this position, that gives Keelan the opportunity to have a counter pick, which naturally will greatly benefit him in his laning efforts and hope to, once again, possibly attempt to carry the Saints. We see a Rek'Sai pick. Rek'Sai is actually dominant in the jungle recently. I've
I've heard you've been playing him.
I've been playing quite a bit of Rek'Sai. I believe I currently have 13 games in the past few days, and I've only lost 3 of them or something. It's very successful nonetheless.
So I think the last thing that we're going to really need to look at when we see Aquinas in game will be to get that early ward pressure and make sure they're showing up to objectives early, on time, and really making sure that it can't be picked out from beneath them. Again, this is not Georgia State, but you can't make the same mistakes twice in a row, and I trust that they will fix those mistakes, and they got a real good shot at winning this one.
Diana pick for Keelan here, very interesting. Diana has, since her rework, they changed her E and her R, I believe.
And flipped them.
They flipped them, and has made her an enormously more damage dealing, more versatile, more dangerous champion overall. So I personally have never seen Keelan play Diana, but I expect it to be scary given the certain settings.
Yeah, everyone's calling her the tactical nuke anymore because she jumps at you and her ult pulls everyone in and just drops a meteor. So just evaluating kind of the picks that we see, Colorado Boulder went, a very tanky, safe play team with emphasis on that Aphelios to carry. Rumble alt will be very strong to work with the Nautilus and Aatrox. Aquinas, on the other hand, it looks like they are going for, the early to mid-game, the mid-game power spike, really, with the Lee Sin, the Diana, the Ornn, even the Ezreal and Senna. It really looks like they are working toward setting up these objectives, and although, Senna is a great safe pick into a Nautilus, I'm sure that's not what she wanted, but that's what she's got. The Ezreal is a safe pick, great to play into Nautilus, and I really think the big matchup's going to be in the jungle.
That is a fair guess, so to say, given that we have not been able to see the full capability of Jari on the Aquinas side jungle, and due to the fact that Rek'Sai can actually beat Lee Sin very early in the game, even though Lee Sin is known as a very high damage dealing early level, a level 1 to 3 champion, so his invades can be quite dangerous. But due to Rek'Sai's knockup, can actually best Lee Sin if played well.
I believe it. And I think it's going to come down to, again, with communications and objectives. We're going to have and make sure that the mid laners are rotating with their junglers, and again, with those just controlling wards that can, ensure that we know at all times where Rek'Sai is, and to make sure that, Aatrox has great roam potential. This could be a game set up to bully Keelan.
Indeed, it could. It's a very interesting point. When we go lane to lane, I think John's Orange just has to play safe. Nothing too crazy, because if he finds himself going in, let's say he uses his E to engage, Aatrox will just set down his whips and chains, and then Ornn will find himself
in a tricky spot.
In a very tricky situation, unless he uses his W to negate the CC. When it comes to the early game, Jari just has to look out for the invade by Rek'Sai if they're feeling so dangerous, so to speak. Rumble can be quite a menace in the mid lane due to his ability to attack a whole wave with his Q, and he can just stand still, Q, and then damage an entire minion wave, which can lead to a very quick pushing style. When we find ourselves in the bot lane, Aphelios is not the newest champion, but the second newest champion, I believe, because the set just came out. Riot just seems to be churning out champions as of current. And actually, I looked at it today. I believe they released 5 to 7 to be safe. 5 to 7 champions in the 2019 season. So it's very interesting to see how quick their development team is able to churn out champions compared to other games like Overwatch, for example. I had a conversation with an Overwatch player today, and she was like, "Well, we got two brand new heroes in the 2019 season." I'm like, "We got like 7 new
At
champions."
least, man.
And
I did like your word choice with the jungle. It is going to be interesting to see because it does look like Colorado has a very good invading team at level 1. So that I think is going to be something to watch for. It'd be nice to see their pings, but for the most part, it does look like Aquinas is going to start at the blue. And I don't think they're going to go for the invade just by the looks of it, unless they invade red side.
Aquinas is not the biggest fan of invading, but dependent on which champion they choose, that is a different story. As we see here, the Aquinas Saints are in a typical 5-point as they start, just to make sure that there is no sort of invade coming. If you look closely at the map, you can see that Aquinas is positioned in a certain way that no one can really enter the jungle without some sort of ward being placed to document and monitor that for the rest of the time being. But it's very safe. But we see that they actually were able just to walk in and place a ward between Red Buff and Chickens. If Jari on Lee Sin decides to start red and then hover around Chickens, that is going to be a very, very important point of information on the side of Colorado Boulder. Then Rek'Sai can use that and manipulate it to her own advantage to see where she wants to go next. But as we see, we have Aquinas starting blue side. My favorite, personally, when I jungle, I always favor
Bot side jungle start.
Bot side jungle start because I get a really good leash.
Yeah.
Rather than top lane.
And I think what we need to be looking at here is Nautilus and Aphelios are actually sitting in that bush right there, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to capitalize too much. Oh, they got the Ezreal.
He's going to have to burn flash to get out of here. Earlier, I think...
Not the best start.
No. Earlier, I believe you said Senna is a good pick into Nautilus. I've never seen it myself.
Opposite. Nautilus is good against Senna.
I misheard. Then I agree completely. As we see here, like I said earlier with the Rumble Q, tons of damage. Level 1, just harassing Keelan and the entire minion wave. Is simply just standing still.
Yeah. I mean, he's easily top tier. You can see him go up for CS on Keelan right from the start. We'll see how the difference is after this wave, but, it could be, even though it was just 1, it could level up quite a bit.
Very interesting move from Attis, maybe, from the mid side for Colorado Boulder. He faked the ward on topside river. Oh, we have a TP coming into the bot lane. Level 2, and looks like Colorado Boulder got level 2 before Aquinas, and Nautilus was able to abuse it, and they took down 0-0 in the meantime.
Right now we have Lee Sin dancing around Rek'Sai at Aquinas' red.
And there she goes. They're both level 3 here. Flash on the Rek'Sai.
It looks like Rumble's moving up too.
Jari in a very dangerous position. If he's going to have to burn flash too. Burn flash for Rumble, and there goes down Jari.
So that early 2-0 lead in the first 5 minutes, it could be big, Just like I was talking about earlier, Aquinas, they needed to learn to play from behind, and this is going to be their opportunity to show us.
And we see Keelan having a little dance with Rek'Sai. Rumble coming up to put some pressure to have him save his jungler here. Very interesting start so far. Not in favor for the Saints, but nonetheless quite interesting. We see Blue Buff is on Rumble because he was able to take down Jari on the ascent. Another engage in the bot lane. Another hook. 0-0 is still level 1. J Freeze is level 3, but Nautilus is able to abuse the hooking potential given the counter pick from a tanky juggernaut type champion into Senna, squishy marksman, so to speak. We have another skirmish, lots of fighting here. Jari getting taken down. Diana goes back in. Nautilus and Aphelios roam up too.
Uh-oh.
They're not going to be able to... Oh, Keelan Flash Auto's able to take 1 down. A double kill over to the Aphelios. This game is already almost to a 2,000 gold lead in the favor of Colorado Boulder. 4-1. 3 kills onto Aphelios. Already with a 300 gold bounty. Only 4 minutes into the game, nearly 5.
And he already has a BF sword.
He's going to hurt when he gets back to lane. We see It's John putting some pressure top lane. If he is able to continue to harass this Aatrox, he might be able to get sneak a kill here and there in the laning phase, which is going to be incredibly important on the side of Aquinas here, given the fact that overall this game is being controlled by Colorado Boulder.
So it does look like Aquinas is starting to get some aggressive wards, but Colorado does have, the better vision over Dragon with that Scuttle, and I really do think that's important. Jari was out of lane, out of position, and they really capitalized on that. They're clearing wards in their jungle. I mean, this is some stuff that will win games, and Aquinas now has to be wary of that drag because there's not a whole lot of vision down there, and a Mountain Drake on that team is not something you want to see. Not with a Rumble, not with an Aatrox, not with a Rek'Sai, and certainly not a Nautilus.
High resolution. We're glad you could make it.
We are trying our best to win, man.
Nonetheless, we personally cannot do anything about that, but we are here to give you commentary in the meantime as we watch this dynamic team fight sort of tango happen. Well, it's not a team fight yet, but you understand what I'm saying. Nonetheless, but as you said earlier, Dragon's incredibly important in this game. Personally, when I'm jungling, my key objective is to make sure my lanes are doing all right, and then my next big idea is to have objective control. If you control Dragon, if you control objectives overall, you should most likely find yourself out on top, unless if you throw out the game in some sort of sense. But Dragons are incredibly important in this current meta, given that Riot attempted to just make this game all about. Nautilus currently 2v1 is going to use the Boomshroom to get over.
The Boomshroom, I like
Boomshroom.
it.
Yes. I'm a bit unorthodox when it comes to the vocab in League of Legends. Like Boomshroom and Rift Herald is Shelly, most likely. Scuttle Crab, Scuttle Bug, Crimson Raptors, chickens. What can I say?
I didn't even know they were called Crimson Raptors because I don't think I've heard them called anything other than chickens.
Well, the more you know.
The more you know.
We see an invade here. Total dominance on the side of Colorado Boulder. It's John going aggressive, having a 3-man roam top lane. Oh, his Q just ends. No, he E'd too early. There it is. 1v3, but Aatrox does so much damage. He's going to... I don't even know if
his healing's insane.
Okay, so it was a messy team fight overall. But they were able to trade 1-for-1, which isn't what you want when it's a 3v1 situation. But Aatrox is such a godly champion, so to speak. Let's use his lore, for example. He's just such a godly dueler that,
and it looks
given
like,
the opportunity, he's just a monster.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have a dive bot lane. There's that pink there, but I'm not sure how much they can do. Oh, Keelan's going to...
John's
going to TP in.
Just to get some pressure off so that the dive will not commence. Trying to save his teammates here.
And we do have 5 bot side right now, but it looks like a lot are recalling. Just kind of looking at it, Keelan is starting to scale up, which is a really good sign. I think he's what you would consider the team's leader. And, you always want your leader in a good mood. So having that is going to be very beneficial for their mindset. Clear head will give clear thoughts.
We see Colorado Boulder aggressively coming in here. I was so in the zone I just forgot what Ezreal E is. Phase shift, I believe. Yes. Nonetheless, 0 was forced to force his flash after the E because Nautilus was still able to get a hook on him. As we see here, we see another dance in the top lane. It's John going in. He's got the chains on him. Jari with some damage.
The ult though, he's still level 5, and I think they're gonna have to back off.
Jari's gonna just try his best to farm up, get back in the game. He is nearly 20 CS down. is over 20 CS down. He's going to get into a fight with Rek'Sai here. Rek'Sai's going to smite him, get the knock up. And like I said, the damage is uncanny. Early level Rek'Sai. Because his E does true damage when she has maximum Fury. I believe it's called Fury for Rek'Sai. But we see Rek'Sai pinging and looking to do, I believe is doing, Rift here. Having Nautilus roam up in addition to Rumble establish some vision control to make sure that this objective is nice and sound. Nobody's going to contest.
And I'd guess right here, just, seeing It's John back, that, they're going to walk top. And, I mean, they already have the bot lane rotated top. I think they're going to try and take top with Rift Herald.
Suitor 2000 Keelan is overpowered. Well, that might just be a champion issue because Diana, quite controversial currently. But nonetheless, that is the pick. That is the dream for this game here. We have Keelan going in. Just a little bit of a dance. We have the Rift Herald being popped top lane. 00 finds himself top lane as well. Full engaged combo by Nautilus. If 00 has the R comes in, can't escape that. Jay Freeze drops the E. Can she get a pick here just from?
Gonna ult. Oh, we got Keelan coming top.
I think he's just going to be able to walk away free here.
So I learned that as soon as you see Rek'Sai coming out of the ground, you can actually flash that.
I believe you cannot anymore.
Oh.
You used to be able to, but now I believe you cannot. But am I positive?
I don't know if I like that.
I'm not positive. But yes, as you say, the old skill, if it's no longer possible, is that you would flash to the side because Rek'Sai would come out of the ground forward, coming towards you. But right when she would be emerging, you could flash to the side and negate the damage. But I no longer believe that is a possibility.
And it looks like Aquinas answered the lane swap for the bot lane to top lane with their very own bot lane to top lane. 00 is playing down almost 50 CS. That's a good couple hundred gold. So
we have Keelan's forced to flash. The Rumble ult goes down. I feel like it's going to try to poke him out here. Down goes Keelan. The skirmish is all over the map. As you can see, the camera's going crazy. John just trying to duel out a little bit, get some grasp procs off of here. 00 finds himself mid lane, having to hide behind his turret due to the dive possibly coming in. Colorado Boulder dominating this game here. John going in once again just to get some damage off. Gets harassed, has to walk to the side for the chains. Colorado Boulder just taking as much gold lead as it can due to the damage on the turrets, breaking the turret plating, giving the surrounding champions, enemy champions, so to speak, gold. Which is just going to further their lead, further their steamroll. And this is not looking too great on the side of Aquinas here. But
I think even though they didn't take that mid, that was definitely a great push because they still came out with Dragon. That's an Ocean Drake, I believe, and that the more healing done. This is not the exact situation you want to be in, and with an Infernal, if you put that on Rumble and Aphelios, that's devastating. So that needs to be Aquinas' priority from here on out, and. I guess looking at it probably halfway through the game, I said the few main things that Aquinas needs to do is going to be aggressive wards, getting to objective earlies, and, it just doesn't look like it's happening.
Now, as we saw there, as you were discussing the mindset here, Jari, once again, just being bullied in these games. A full dive, beautiful execution by the Nautilus. The flash Q ultimate on both members of Aquinas here. Are they going to be able to walk away with one? John comes in with the late ultimate, see if he can snipe him. Jari looking for the flash. He got the R. He got to kill himself. He got to kill for himself there. Flashes away from the Aatrox. He's still looking to do a little bit of tangle because he got two teammates coming in. Jay Freeze on center with the heals. But it looks like they'll take what they got and walk away.
That was a big fight because I really do believe that Aquinas right here does have the better team fight. They don't have the same walls that, Colorado is looking at, but they have a comp built more for those team fights, and you can tell it was carefully picked just for that. because, you look at Aatrox, you look at Rek'Sai, they're great, dueling champs. But when you throw them in a team fight against, an Ornn, a Lee Sin, Ezreal, a Senna, and a Diana, that's not where the position you want to be in.
If we take a look here, it's John, matched straight up in CS with Aatrox currently. 0-0-3 for John. It's John. 1-1 for the Aatrox. Colorado Boulder having beautiful map awareness and map movement overall. Ree, once again, getting bullied. Can't do much. And he just continues to fall behind, especially as we saw the game earlier this week. Same idea. We have Rek'Sai. We have a fight coming in. We have a TP. The camera fell down. Keelan doing what he can. Sorry for the lack of communication there. We had something come across the screen from the production office, and we can't do anything about that. So we had to take it as it was. But earlier you did say that, another dive top lane. It's John finding himself in a sticky situation. He goes for the E, but gets interrupted. This game, dominant on the side of Colorado Boulder. But earlier, as you said, they picked up an Ocean Dragon. And as you see, the Rift has now changed. And now the Infernal blazes, as the Rift likes to say.
Yes.
So the main dragon here is going to be the Infernal Dragon. And when the team obtains the Dragon Soul, that increases their attack damage in AP, I believe. And when the soul is obtained, an explosion occurs with each damage dealing ability or auto attack every few seconds here and there. So given a certain team comp or a certain play style, a handful of champions, can be very dangerous when it comes to certain locations for team comps, especially team fights, when given a certain location. Like, let's say a fight in the jungle breaks out and one team has the Infernal Soul. If they're all clumped together, that damage is going to pop and spread all over them and do quite an amount of damage overall.
And I think this is where Ezreal ult turns into old broken Aphelios ult.
Aquinas looking to make picks here. The Ornn ultimate comes in. They're going to be able to get
Aphelios.
That one. But there's so much happening on the screen.
Jake was taken out. We got Ornn coming in, going for the Aatrox. It looks like both Nautilus and Aatrox are going to end up getting him, unless he can get out, but it doesn't look like he can get out. We got Ezreal was taken out by Rek'Sai, and Jay Freeze is the last one left, and Rek'Sai flashed over the wall. Will she be able to get him? Jay Freeze is trying to heal, but can't do it. But Tower will take out Rek'Sai.
A very interesting interaction there, as we saw Rek'Sai walk towards Jay Freeze. It didn't appear to knock her up, but an interaction with the tower, maybe some sort of minion blocking sort of coding occurred, and Jay Freeze sort of just twitched, more or less, right next to the tower. But it didn't appear that she was knocked up, so I'm not too sure what occurred just then. But nonetheless, they will take this close to of an ace and run it back to Dragon, take that Dragon. I believe Dragon Soul is the 4th Dragon?
Correct.
So one more Dragon, and it's going to be incredibly difficult for Aquinas to come back, as we say here now. But if they are unable to stop that Dragon Soul, and Colorado obtains that Dragon Soul, it's going to be very difficult.
In the meantime, Rek'Sai also managed to grab Rift Herald.
This is a very dominant play style here from the side of Colorado Boulder. As we see, there's actually double buffs on Nautilus, which won't do too much overall for Nautilus, but will allow him to have... Actually, I retract that, given the fact that the CD, and then he Qs in, pull, auto attacks, snared, that red buff will be applied, and actually give a slow to that champion, rendering them even more incapable of moving, even though he's already the king of CC, could have just had that Riptide to get the CC down there. But the red buff is just amazing doing
on
that.
him and they can't move.
Yeah. I don't think that would be necessary this game, but nonetheless.
No.
As we see Colorado Boulder here sitting in the bush by Crimson Raptors, or Chickens, if you like, looking to get some picks. Jari thinking that something might be up, is waiting in the other bush, and they pop down a blue ward. Rek'Sai dropping Rift Herald here. This is going to be a taken down inhib turret here, because I think it'll do enough damage. John ults, but then fights 2v1.
The whole team's coming on.
2v3. John's going to get melted down. He's not tanky enough just yet. He just has armor. The
Ezreal's
huge team fight
cold.
comes out. Are they going to fight? Rek'Sai going on Jari. Can't stop it. Can't flash out of it nowadays. Senna ult comes down, but she gets killed before she can. Keelan all by himself.
Doing his
And
best, but
4 for 0 in a tower flash. Rumble's still going for Keelan. He's going to dive him. Turns back to the tower damage overall. As we see, it took 4 or 5 shots there. Colorado Boulder looking to end the game right here, right now. Very dominant play style here. Let's see if Keelan can get away, or just
he was rooted.
not get away, but
King of CC, man.
not get away, but maybe get a kill there.
And it does look like Colorado Boulder will take game 1 here, unless Aquinas can make a really good push. And
Jari with the ultimate comes in and knocks up the enemy team. Jari is still going on Aphelios. He misses the Q. They're still chasing him right now. The ward hop. Ornn does not ward hop.
Lee Sin.
But Lee Sin ward hop. I was talking about it's John on Ornn, but then I was wrapped up in Jari's movement there. But they were able to pick up 4 kills just now. They no longer have any Nexus turrets, so this is very rough. Very rough for the side of Aquinas here. As we see, we have It's John running right next to Jari's Lee Sin. Got to make sure... Oh, they're actually going to make a Baron call right here. This is very interesting. Good idea nonetheless, because 3 of the members on Colorado Boulder are still down.
And Aphelios
They don't have
still
any
up till
damage,
5.
though. Like, they don't have enough damage. We see 00 sitting in the back of the pit, but from what I recall, it does more damage.
Right there.
Rek'Sai is level 12. Jari is level 10. So Jari is not able to have a better smite
Nautilus is
than
right behind.
than Rek'Sai here, but
This is going to
they're
be
gonna
a
have
huge
to see.
fight.
They're gonna have to CC Rek'Sai, so she can't get in and secure the. Oh,
got the
Rumble
Baron.
TP's in. He's gonna try to end the game by himself. Another TP from Aatrox. A double TP. Peke more or less here. Rek'Sai doing what? She's not even there. It's John on Ornn doing what he can. Send it back. Gonna try to take down Rumble. She auto cancels here, and that will leave Rumble alive and able to end the game. So a little misplay at the very end right there. Left Rumble barely living, but nonetheless a very dominant play style on the side of Colorado Boulder. Aquinas couldn't do much there. The Baron call was a tricky call nonetheless. I saw the dream. I saw the hope.
I think it was a great call, but with those 2 teleports, I think that's something that might not have been communicated as well in the later game of cooldowns, and having those up, it's not something you expect, So I think that is really where that issue ended up coming in. Kind of just breaking down the game. Aquinas did actually play pretty well from behind. I mean, it didn't look like they turned too much, but at the same time, they were fighting. I felt like with Georgia State, it almost looked like as soon as they started going down, they fell down. But, it looked like today they're picking each other up, and you strike them down for game 1, you better be prepared for game 2, man. Because, I'm still seeing the same problem. They're not getting to the objectives on time. With Rek'Sai, you got to watch for those early drags, because I believe their first one was at 5.5 minutes. Deep warding was, again, another issue that they had. Luckily, they didn't have the same issue with Rek'Sai coming into the jungle as much, I feel, but it still was an issue. So whether we get deep wards or not, I still think it's important to be warding our jungle.
Excellent point. So that does conclude just the first game of the best of 3 match here. We will be back. We'll leave you with for just a few minutes, and then come right back and just when draft comes back up once again. But in the meantime, we thank you for your view, your tuning in, and we will be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. I said we'll be right back, and boy, did I mean it. We're already going into the second game here. We see I'm actually about to be joined by Jay. Same play as last stream. Comes in for the second game here. And we're about to have Jay come in, have a little guest commentary, so to speak here, even though he's no stranger to the scene. But we are here, game number 2. We do see a Rumble ban because it was very dominant last game. But Jay, welcome. Glad you could make it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course.
Maybe I'll be a regular in this time. So
maybe we'll see. Maybe this time we'll find ourselves at a game 3.
yeah, I mean, I'm already looking at the bans. They made some smart decisions, right? Banning that Rumble. I'm not sure about the Diana pick in the first phase. Rumble's notoriously good into most melee matchups, so he's just able to push in the wave a ton. They were able to get more mid-lane priority to push for those Drakes after they already got some leads. So I think it's just a smart ban overall.
Last game I forgot to mention because I was lost in all the fights that were happening, but we did see Keelan did pick up a Rod of Ages there in that fight just to make himself a little bit tankier. But nonetheless, the game ended how it did. I saw the dream because Diana, given the certain situations, can be quite a menace. But we see it's John picking up Misfortune. I believe that's going to head down naturally into the bot lane for 00. Maybe we should just have him change his name to 00.
I'll be honest, we can ask him after this, see what happens.
We'll see what he thinks.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea.
Misfortune's a very strong pick right now. It was almost pick or ban pretty much in some of the out-of-season tournaments they had in the professional and semi-professional scene. So I think we'll see the same trend over here. It's not a flex pick for sure. I don't think any other lane plays it. Maybe there's some Korean out there playing it in the mid lane, dominating. Hit me up if you are. Let me see some strats.
Yeah. We'll watch it. We'll even commentate it if we're allowed to.
For sure. But yeah, it definitely looks like someone in the bot lane. On the other side, Boulder is definitely picking up that Lucian, which can be flexed mid and bot. So it's still kind of concerning on where that'll be, especially since Akali can still be played in the top lane.
We see Elise being picked up naturally in the jungle. I actually played against an Elise top today. Very unsuccessful.
Yeah, I actually played Elise top about 2-3 years ago. That was a lot of fun, but it's definitely going in the jungle here. I don't think I've ever seen anyone else pick it, and it's probably not successful anymore with the state of the game. Morgana picked up, keep Misfortune a little bit more safe, maybe hit him with that combo with a nice Dark Binding from Morgana and just ultimate unleashed by Misfortune. Just mow down the opposition.
Morgana Q into Misfortune R. Maybe even throw an E in there if you're feeling spicy. But nonetheless, it's a very simple combo. Maximum amount of damage.
For sure. A nice Olaf pickup here. The Elise matchup can go either way for the most part. If Olaf gets a lead early, it's pretty damning for the Elise. Just he can ignore the Cocoon with his ultimate and just run her down. He wants to wait around. He doesn't really have to dodge any of her abilities. He'll just soak the damage and end up just lowering her down with his undertow. So, well, I'm curious to see how this one plays off. Obviously, Aquinas has not been doing so hot in this early game. So in a pick like an Elise combined with a Morgana Misfortune is complete snowball lane if I've ever seen one. Just the ability to stay on one side of the map or just gank over and over again, which is probably what Jari is going to be looking to doing with some of the way the buffs and jungle camps have changed with their timers. You really want to play super aggressive on picks like Lee Sin and Elise, so we'll see if we can pull it off this time around.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more because I wanted to actually make a point that Elise, a lot of early game damage, especially in the jungle. She can come in gank typically level 3 gank, and just have a cocoon and then burst for the rest of the damage just simply by herself most of the time. In my findings, at least, I think Elise is a very strong early game pick, and I couldn't agree more with just the picks in general on the side of Aquinas. Very early game picks, and as we've seen in the past 2 matches overall, including earlier this week and just the match that we just witnessed, that early game is not very hot on the side of Aquinas, especially when it comes to warding. And I don't know what the idea is, but teams are very comfortable with invading Aquinas and showing, hey, we're on the same rift, but it belongs to us.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because I think part of it is just the champions that are being picked up by Aquinas. It's pretty easy to push in a wave and then use that advantage to dig deeper, especially when Jari's getting into some of these counter matchups. Like Rek'Sai does very well into Lee Sin, feels really good just to play into because he always have a knock up to interrupt most of his kit and just out damage him before he can even touch you. So I am curious to see if there's some more lane priority coming in from the mid lane and top lane, and just having Jari just focus one side of the map. I think they just need to start snowballing one side of the map. Elise can pretty much bring the CC and damage, so just bring up the pressure. And there we go. A Kled pickup is being hovered here, picked up by John in the top lane. Another like excellent pick for John. I feel like I'm just laying praises down on this guy for some of these champions. I mean, they banned his Ornn and Mordekaiser, so you know he's doing some real work in this top lane, especially with Elise. They can just dive over and over again with the resets.
Yes, with the Elise repel, she can she can start the turret aggro. When it gets a little bit sketchy, repel right out of there, no longer taking aggro, and then switch aggro over to Kled, and then let's say Kled gets burned down to half HP, Skarl runs away.
Yeah, just dismounts.
And then once again redirecting the turret aggro.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a killer combo. I mean, you're pretty much invincible if you pull it off right. And by pull off right, I mean one of them has to hit one button, the other one just has to be dismounted. So there's not really a lot of mechanics there. But this seems to be a complete turnaround from the last few games we've seen it with Aquinas. A lot of early game pressure here, and a lot of big ultimates that don't have to wait till mid game. Like they're looking to snowball one of these lanes. So it's going to be curious on seeing which of the lanes that Jari's going to focus on, because like I was saying before, like you have the Morgana Q to line up with a Cocoon, you have Kled to dive towers, and getting Kiana a lead is just insane with her roaming capabilities, especially with an ultimate the size of the whole map pretty much if you just layer it around right. So speaking a little bit more of Boulder, what do you see in their composition?
I just wanted to point out that they actually have a Lucian top lane so they have two ADCs overall. Lucian top lane against Kled for It's John. I think It's John. It's going to be a little rough in the early game, just to the sheer damage and the double shot passive coming out from Lucian. But after John is able to get some tanky items, get some HP onto Skarl, so whenever Kled as a champion purchases health, the stats actually go to Skarl.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? Bringing up that Lucian top lane, you're probably looking to focus on that side, right? Because if a Lucian top gets behind, there's pretty much no counterplay in a matchup like Kled, who can just jump onto you over and over again. And it's super easy for Elise to get fed off of any weak lane. Definitely with a Braum in the bot lane, you're pretty much going to have Morgana trying to lead off some of these ganks, getting a binding early, maybe blowing a shield, so when Elise finally comes in, she can layer down on that damage without all those bonus resistances that Braum gets when he throws up his unbreakable shield. So I'm looking for Jari to play on the top side of the map. For Boulder, it's kind of hard to say, right? Because you have an Olaf that's going to be running through this team, but with an Akali and Lucian who don't bring any CC, it's just raw damage. If Aquinas can keep them at an arm's length and just kite out some of these fights, it's going to be hard for Boulder to respond in a straight-up engage. I mean, sure, they have the counter-engage with a Braum, and then you have your little turrets as a Aphelios, and Akali can always dash around in her Shroud, but for the most part, they don't really have any tanks, so if they're trying to group up and Misfortune gets a good ultimate or Kiana gets an ultimate off, then they really don't have a ton of tools to work inside of some of these team fights,
When I saw the Lucian and Aphelios pick before they were lane swaps, so now we see where they're going. Right when I saw them, I figured it was going to be a Lucian bot lane with Braum for the double shot passive, Akali top, and Aphelios mid, because I've seen Aphelios mid before. I've seen Akali top before. So to me, it seems smarter to put the Lucian with the Braum, just for the both of their passives.
The synergy,
together,
yeah, between the two.
Yeah. So I'm very intrigued at the thought process here to have the Lucian top rather than the Akali top and the Aphelios mid back in the Lucian bot lane. So I'm just very curious overall.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely shows the priority that Boulder holds Aphelios on, just as a champion, because, I mean, they saw this, they saw what they were picking into, and, they went picking that Braum and having Morgana on the other side, you're probably not looking to stack up that stun right away, so they're probably thinking, well, we need to do something that's going to bring us more into the mid game, because Lucian's probably not going to do a total snowball against a Morgana Misfortune, who has a range advantage, and ways to counter the stun. So it is interesting to see the Lucian top. I think I would rather see it mid lane, but I mean, they already committed to the idea when they picked the Akali, right? They're kind of going on blind all over the map, and Aquinas just had the Kled that counters both of those champions if you can get them a little bit ahead or just play neutral in the laning phase. So we'll see how it turns out. We're about 25 seconds away jumping into this game. What do you think some of these early pathings are going to look like between the Olaf and the Elise?
I think the side of Boulder might just try to do an invade, as before. Flash Q flash, sort of situation coming out from Olaf. Followed up by the Braum passive. Very dangerous. Maybe try to even get a flash from the Aquinas side, because if you're hit with one of them, you're going to have to flash most likely, but even then, you're going to get hit with a Braum Q. So then, you don't want to burn your flash here. So if Aquinas does find himself to be invaded, and they just can't burn their flash, unless it's over a wall, back to lane, a very safe flash, but any sort of flash is going to be still victorious for the invade.
Yeah, for some of our newer viewers out there, what Boulder has picked up is Olaf. You'll see on the screen Glacial Olaf here. One of his abilities is able to throw an axe that does a tremendous slow, and he can pick up that axe to reset the cooldown. So in early invades, such as level 1, he's very good at this. He throws his axe, catches somebody, uses one of his summoner spells to flash onto his axe and throw it right away. So you can keep catching out opponents over and over again and continuously damaging them. So it's very interesting to see this invade. It looks like there's just spreading out for now. I don't think they're committed to a decision quite yet. So we might not see any trickery here in this first few minutes.
Typical 5-point coming up from Aquinas. It looks like Boulder's mirroring the same idea here. Olaf is currently hovering top side, which might seem he's going to go bot lane after he hits level 3.
Yeah, it looks like they might not want to take the chance against a Morgana, who's just going to bind you for an eternity here.
Yes.
And they never know what other spells are going to start. So, I mean, it's an interesting by Boulder. I understand where they're coming from, but at the same time, you have like the Lucian, you have the Olaf, you have the Braum, and even a Kali Q can hit a slow at the end, and every single one of those, for the most part, is an AoE effect between, the Olaf and the Akali, and then you can stack the stuns on multiple targets. So I think I would rather see them invade, but I mean, this is where we're at the moment. So we're going to see which side these junglers choose to start and which side they're going to be focusing some of their pressure on. It looks like Olaf is heading back over, and Kiana, it looks like actually going to the top side. Yeah, a late invade by Boulder here. We'll see what's going to happen. Aquinas doesn't have a ward, no one's stepping out the side. Olaf hits the Q, like we said, going for the reset. Take over here, Tommy.
They're going to focus on the bot lane here, but once again with the Boomshroom, 0 doing what it can to poke him out, but they're going to be able to take this red away, and we're going to have 0 head over to blue buff with no leash.
Yeah, it's pretty rough as a jungler.
Oh, actually headed to the top side.
Yeah,
red
Jari's just going right through the red buff, just trying to take something away from Olaf as he takes away from her. As is, it wasn't too bad for Aquinas side. I mean, yeah, they pushed him off the buff, but their attention was split by the Olaf into Morgana into Misfortune, kept chasing them down in different directions. So it never really ended up in anything. No summoners were burned except for the Misfortune flash. So Olaf's probably going to be wrapping around here, maybe try and provide some early pressure after he clears some of his camps. John just poking some down, using that level lead on Kled, using that W and steps up. Actually gets dismounted early here, so that could be pretty rough on the Kled if he steps too far up.
Yeah, an early game Kled with no courage, extremely difficult to build up. And it only works on champions, so it's very difficult. That early dismount, you're not a fan to see it. We see Keelan having a small trade up in the top lane. With the objective timers we see 2 minutes coming up on Ocean Drag. So we know that Ocean Drag will not be the soul of this game.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested still in this lane swap, right? Because Kiana has some amazing roaming capabilities. So does Kled, don't get me wrong. It looks like it's working out for him so far, so I'm going to have to, just eat my words right now. But I think I'd rather see the Kiana getting unlocked on the mid lane and then just using that priority to invade on the Olaf to go bot side, because she actually has bonus movement, out of combat movement speed in her W, and that hasn't gotten touched here in this nerf. It was just an attack speed, so it's more of layoff damage. And this matchup, I don't think it's too important. The nerf to Kiana was just made it a scaling attack speed on her W for every level, so it really hurt her jungle clear, which was being flexed by professional players and in all sorts of regions from Korea and from Europe to really push through this. So we're seeing a little bit of an invade here on Akali. pushing out Kled on this lane, using some of that the Qs and her Shroud whenever it's up just to provide some pressure. Bot lane's getting pushed in here.
Yeah, so we're seeing a very aggressive Braum style here, and earlier, just a minute ago, we saw Jay Freeze actually standing behind 00, but in this situation, 00 has been poked down quite a bit, and we're going to need Jay Freeze to stand in front and body block for Aphelios damage, and especially the Braum Q damage. So we're going to need her to body block. We have an engage here. Akali goes in on Edge John, but Edge John proc and Conqueror. Camera moves down.
Yeah, it looks like she just got out, right? They dismounted at the Kled and just moved around. Yeah, I think Jay Freeze kind of needs to step up here, use that range advantage, and both of them need to start throwing some auto attacks onto this Braum and Aphelios, get some priority back in here, because they're just so far away. I mean, what's a Braum going to do? He doesn't have any range on him. You just have to step up and start pushing him back. It's really, throw your weight around. See what you can do, get some prio. Keelan's pushing into that top wave. You see Jari hovering him behind, so maybe he's looking for this. He has the Ice Ring up. Look, steps a little too far forward. Ooh, a little late on that cocoon. Maybe could have bursted him down, but just wasn't quite there yet.
We actually see Olaf has been sitting in the alcove bot lane, but 00 has been trying to back for the past minute and a half, and he finally has been able to, but he finds himself heavily behind NCS.
Yeah, it's kind of rough. It was the same situation as before, right? Burns Flash, level 1, just coming back into lane. Same thing here. Late invade has to burn Flash, and they just can't get any lane priority off of it. I think they should start be throwing, abilities back at the wave and just trying to step up a little bit more, harass the opponent, because they're going to feel free to harass you back if you're not doing anything about it.
Keelan having a small trade up in the top lane. Each lane having a small little tango itself.
Yeah, we're just going back and forth.
Olaf coming mid, not looking good for Itch John. He's gonna have to proc courage somehow to just keep. Right before down. Scar returns the battle, the Olaf E coming in for that true damage.
Never feels good. I mean, they hit him with all the abilities there, and just if Kled had flashed away from that initial axe, right? But coming out of the fog of war, coming out of that bush, it's kind of hard to tell. The other problem I'm seeing with some of these lane swaps, right, is that these players don't seem totally familiar with what their roles and warding should be.
Keelan
right?
waiting in the bush, waiting for his time to strike.
Oh, misses his ultimate there. Didn't hit any terrain, no bushes.
Olaf coming in and fading the Elise. Elise cannot go anywhere. The escape is nowhere. Oh, the flash. Procs. Phase rush. Kled coming in from nowhere. He's going to be able to pick off Olaf here. Is going to get dismounted. The heals come out from 00. Akali waiting, and she's going to jump over to red side. And
looks like she's out.
Ooh.
Kled's going in here. I mean, knows she has no abilities.
Bumped by Dragon. He's going to try to proc courage once again, but it's not good enough. I believe he actually got killed by the Dragon there, but the kill goes over to Braum.
Yeah, Braum ignited him, put some more pressure down, just bit off a little bit more than he could chew. Aquinas bot lane wasn't able to wrap around as fast as the Braum and Aphelios, just based off of lane priority alone, so it's pretty hard to respond to a play like that. Good idea by John, collapsing onto that Olaf. Jari kept him busy as long as he could, but unfortunately goes down in that situation, and then John overstays his welcome just a tad.
I think John got a little too excited.
Yeah, got into the Kled mentality, just had to run it down,
Nonetheless, but given the fact that John has a number of Kled games, some would say, I'm a master at Kled. Some would say. Would I say? I don't know. But nonetheless.
Well, you said it, so.
You're right. I guess I would say it then. But nonetheless, right now I think It's John's Kled has a great opportunity to actually snowball his lead. He does find himself at 1-2, but nonetheless, if he can get himself a few kills, he's going to become quite dangerous in the sense of team fighting. Olaf mid have huge pressure on the map. Kiana uses her jump to get away. Still incredible damage from the Akali coming out.
Yeah, and the Olaf, he actually hit the second part of the Q here, right in the middle of her animation. It was pretty hard to spot. I actually didn't see it until I saw the axe land and they walked away. So, yeah, they're just chunking some of these abilities out. You saw Keelan and It's John switch back into their lane, see what they can do. It'll be a little more rough because It's John has actually picked up a Tiamat, and you probably don't want to be pushing the wave in when you want to harass some of this Lucian. You kind of want to go more on the one-on-one level. It was probably good in the mid lane, right? Push the lane up, use your ultimate to get a lead. here now that he's picked up the Tiamat, really some of his only option is to keep pushing the wave in and then roam with that lead, get some deep vision, play some aggressive ultimate roams off. So we're going to see how that turns out in the top lane. Keelan's picked up a serrated Dirk. Bot lane, oof, look at that, another 20 CS, a deficit for Aquinas. Colorado Boulder is doing a really good job of just keeping some of these leads going.
So the lead, as we stated earlier, was actually 20 CS. So the fact that he is keeping like the same amount rather than keep 0-0 keeping to deplete and fall farther behind is better than him. I just misspoke. He's keeping the deficit as it is rather than having a larger deficit.
Yeah, instead of the deficit continually to grow
Correct.
over the time. Yeah, I mean, you could give him credit for that. I mean, that is a good play. I'd say that is a positive if you want to look like that. But the fact is, he's still down. 23 CS. He'll pick up quite a few minions here, especially it's that cannon. Nice chunk of gold. Good turret, actually, by Fellows, right? He's going to keep pushing some of these waves and get some more priority.
Yeah, keep it pushed in on the bot side here.
Yeah, the next Drake's not up for another almost 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 45 seconds. So they're probably just looking to pressure down, get some of these plates, and then reset for the Drake fight. Probably, in about 30, 40 seconds here. Looks like a color's coming down. Olaf's coming down.
4-man bot. 0-0 is going to have to go down. Does not have flash. He had heal, but I believe it looks like he has heal from our point of view, but he did not spend it if he did have it, which is a smart call there.
Yeah, it's pretty rough, right? I mean, you see if Helios hit some of these abilities onto the wave, and they just step up, push the wave in, and there's a bunch of people missing from the map. So maybe is that a good read? Would you have seen that dive before it came, or is that just something you might just be caught off guard on?
Well, there was a lack of vision, I believe, but right when that Olaf was heavy pushing, that's when I knew that the dive was coming. Right when I saw the Braum head in, I knew that there was a dive. I didn't know if there was 3 or 4 individuals there, but I knew it was coming. But the only best bet that they had was Morgana E to go onto 0-0, and then 0-0 to put down his E to also put a slow on the diving champions. That was their best bet. It did not occur, rendering 0-0 useless in the dive there. But they're still hovering bot lane. The flash comes out. The Braum R comes in. The stopwatch comes out, but she's going to get burned down anyways. Questionable.
Ooh, nice old
Well, the Ignite is going to take MF. Kiana down here doing her best for 1v3. She gets 1 kill, but nonetheless, a double kill for Braum.
Yeah, a decent try at the roam. Like, Aphelios flashes out of Kiana ultimate, and Euclid has to ult away here. Never feels good. Starts losing this matchup
Force
into
flash.
Dilution. Force the flash away, yeah. Just pushes it down. It's just rough across the board, right? Because ideally you want to see some of this Elise get into these plays and waiting for some of the laners to really wait until Elise comes up and start taking some of these fights.
We saw Jari was trying to solo Rift, but the little escapade we had top lane rendered It's John dismounted, and then Dilution found that an opportunity to press up and try to possibly find himself a kill. And while doing that, he found Jari doing Rift Herald, and Jari had no other option but to back off.
Yeah, they need to work out some of these steps, right? You need to get some more safety in your lanes before you start pushing through their jungle, because else they're just going to roam down. Colorado Boulder is doing an excellent job of just pushing their lead across the map, taking objective after objective after initial dives and pushing some of these fights. So for Aquinas to come back in, they're going to have to hard focus one of these lanes, first of all, so they can roam as a team, right? Whether that's Jari just walking to a lane, pushing it out, and having maybe bot lane all roam mid, or just to get control of this dragon. But you really need to get everyone involved in some of these plays.
Recalling back to that dive, the 2 dives back-to-back that we saw bot lane, Keelan did go in 1v... we have quite a fight mid lane. Akali does her best to get out. The Dark Bunny comes out. It misses. It's John 1v2 in the top lane. Olaf throws his Q. It misses. It's John stays mounted. Still Scarlet in the battle. Still confident. But recalling... the Rift Herald is dropped. This is going to be a tower taken down unless It's John is able to actually get a pick off here from the Olaf. He is going to be able to pick.
Yes.
1v1 against Solution. He has Ninja Toppy, so it's 10% of the base attack reduced. And he's able to save the turret. Excellent play. And Aquinas actually going to be able to take Dragon because Olaf showed top lane. It's John took him down. A very favorable trade in the side of Aquinas. They got a kill and a Dragon.
Yeah, all across the board, just like you said, right? They push out that mid lane, get a little gank in, even though they didn't get the kill, right? They push her out that wave. They come and take Drake as soon as they see Olaf top lane, and Olaf's a little late to hit his ultimate, so gets dragged back and slowed right when Kled's Q comes back. It looks like they're pressuring the bot side. They got a TP coming from the tri-bush here. We'll see who that is.
A TP comes in.
It's a Kali.
They're probably going to look for another dive. The tower is low. The only hope here is Morgana Q and Morgana E.
Looks like they're just going to push out some of this wave. Well, Akali and Kiana look to be pushing themselves around a little bit.
Little assassin tango in the mid lane here. Ooh, Akali damage is true and strong. Half of Keelan's HP is now gone with just a few shurikens, I believe.
Shurikens, yeah.
We see Olaf clearing his top side, getting that red. Gonna do a quick little clear here and then attempt to get some more map presence. 00 and J-Free still defending the bot side turret here, doing what they can. And as we saw, after the taking of the second dragon, it revealed that Air Drake is going to be the soul for this game. So the cloud quickens. We have top lane ultimate going in. John actually 1v3 doesn't know that there was there. Keelan comes in, is gonna ultimate them, show ultimate display of talent, I believe. We're gonna have quite it was a good idea, turned deadly. Kiana doing her best to get out of there. She jumps over the wall. Olaf flash. Oh, the cocoon comes out. And he's able to save him. Excellent cocoon and save by Jari on Elise. Keelan's able to get out alive. Once again, Aquinas fights with not enough vision. Bites off more than they can chew. It's John finds himself maybe a little too excited once again. Nonetheless, Aquinas... They are trading, still trading kills, but are finding favorable trades within these trades here and there. So this game, I argue, is much more favorable rather than the first.
you could say it's much more favorable. I mean, I guess across the board, like you would rather trade a 1-for-1 kill rather than just be killed yourself, right? So in that sense, it's definitely going better. It's only 4-9 this time around. Not quite as much as a lead from Boulder across the board, but... They are definitely pushing some of these leads. Again, more CS leads almost pretty much all the way around the board. I mean, Misfortune's down, almost 50 CS, and the top lane's down around 30 CS. So they're not only across kills, but it's just against raw stats from items. I mean, Misfortune doesn't have an item complete at this point, where Philios has an item and a half and his boots. So it's just becoming more of a rough situation from here on out. I mean, what do you do to stall out Boulder from just snowballing their lead with this Olaf?
Aquinas is just going to have to try to do their best to not appease, so to speak, Boulder here. Still contest, but don't bite off what they can chew and try to get some picks here. Olaf goes in with the R. 2v3. Misfortune comes in if she is able to get the R off. The TP also comes in. The Philios R comes out, exploding. The J4, Misfortune ults right into the way of Braum E, rendering the ultimate completely useless, which is why I think they actually picked up Braum as the last pick against this Misfortune. But a possible, maybe a one pickup turned sour.
Yeah, it definitely seems, it comes back to your point about some of this vision game, right? They just keep trying to fight some of this without being set up for it fully. I mean, it's just like one or two of the members will step up, and Boulder has 3 or 4 there that can just respond faster. So maybe they need to play a little bit more patient, depending on some of their pick potentials, right? I mean, you'd rather use some of these big ultimates in team fights, but at the same time, like, are you going to get that team fight? You're probably not going to win just based off of raw stats alone. So you're just going to have to focus more onto one character, see if you can catch them out using the Kled ultimate, using Kiana Rome, or Elise just throwing a Cocoon, or Morgana Q. So they definitely have the tools to get some of these picks and just focus down one character. But it's going to be tough, right? Because you don't want to go in blind like they've been doing before.
Yeah, overall, this game is still a very rough and dangerous game here. We see the first Air Drake actually coming up in 40 seconds. Aquinas is going to want to be establishing vision, taking away vision, pushing those waves, taking as much control as they can. But Boulder's already on top of it. Aquinas just...
Late to the game, right?
Looking at daisies, so to speak. Late to the game. They are clearing some vision in their own jungle, but they do not have anything established in the enemy blue jungle, which is where you want your vision if you're trying to take an objective. A little miscommunication there with the double ward in that red bush, but nonetheless, we do have Dragon coming up in 13 seconds. We might have a little scuffle down there. We do see Jari is about half HP, but he is moving up to maybe put a ward in the top river?
Yeah, I think they've decided that they can't contest this streak. It's a decision that probably should have made about 2 minutes ago, right? Because they're from behind. They should be trying to focus on other objectives. It looks like they're trying to make a move on the top side, but it doesn't look like they're fully committed anywhere, right? They're just kind of stuck in this position. So at some point, it just has to turn on from leadership ability who can step up and just say, hey, what are we going to be doing this next moment? Because you don't want to fight them. You don't want to fight the other team at this moment. You just want to farm up, get a few leads elsewhere. So they need to be pushing just probably across the map, just completely ignore Drake and just focus on this Lucian. Again, like, he is strong, but he's one of the weakest links just as he has raw damage capabilities. The only CC he has is, his Blade of the Ruined King, so it's not even in his kit, and it's, a minute 15 seconds cooldown, so it'll just be hard to get on top. But once you're there's nothing you can really do to kite you out.
Yeah, I'd say that It's John for the Aquinas Saints actually one of the key players in these most recent games so far, especially when he had the Urgot game earlier this week. But maybe Colorado Boulder is attempting. Oh, we have Ajari going for a Rift, but then Lucian comes up nowhere. Kleto coming in trying to save his teammate. The recoil goes up. Rift Herald gets in the way.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing, right? Like, they didn't have safety in the other lanes. They start up the Rift without having any real deep vision or any lane priority, and just gets caught back out there. It's kind of rough because it doesn't look like anyone else is going to respond to the play, but when you're that far behind as a jungle and your Lucian has a free farming top lane, you're probably just not going to win that fight.
It's John gets... He couldn't have done anything there, but we do have a fight here. Akali versus Count in the mid lane. Philly is there too, so this is not a favorable situation here. Everyone's just going to skedaddle and be on their way, so to speak, with that fight. Baron is coming up here. Looks like that Colorado Boulder might try to do it.
Yeah, they might just try and start this up, right? I mean, you do have double ADCs, so you're going to put out a tremendous amount of damage, especially with the Blade on Lucian, and then you already have your 2 crit items on Aphelios. The one small win for Aquinas is that they did pick up the Rift Herald. Jarre was able to finish that off, try to smite for health, and just decided to commit to that instead of trying to kite away, which was pretty smart back in the moment. So we'll see if they can make use of the Rift Herald on some other play.
It was nearly stolen after the smite from Jarre. I believe it was at 9 HP. Even a W from Lucian could have stolen that. Very close, but excellent that it came out onto the side of Aquinas here.
Small victories,
Small victories here, folks. Small victories. Sudo 2000, I've never been told that I sound like Tommy 309, but Keelan and I have had some sparse conversations about Tommy 309. I've never heard him before I met Keelan. But I thought it was interesting because my previous address was indeed 309, and my name is indeed Tommy. So, coincidence? Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? Y'all never see me in the same room as Tommy 309. Neither have I. So,
a point to ponder.
But as I was saying, I think It's John is a very key character. Oh, here we go. It's John looking aggressive here. The body going out. They're going to try to shut down Olaf here. They're going to trade on the Olaf, the Braum with the R, and then Aphelios comes in and is going to have some splash damage everywhere. And the Braum is just too tanky.
Braum actually blocks the ultimate from Kiana, so she's not able to get her full supreme display of talent off, while they're just going to be running down some of the rest of the team. So it's pretty rough. Excellent play by Colorado Boulders. I can't actually read his name on this screen, but the Braum is just doing fantastic, just blocking some of these huge ultimates and providing, a perfect tank here in some of these fights. So they're just going to be pressing down on this mid lane, take this inhibitor, we'll see where they runs from there. They actually have both top and bot lane pushing, so it's hard for Aquinas to either split up and make a decision, or they're just going to have to give everything up,
Production, if you could increase the size, just pull it down a little bit if you could, please. But nonetheless, we will continue the cast as we do.
Let's see, a huge team fight here. Looks like there's another already picked up by It's John. Ran through with his ultimate. They're just trying to fight too much. One last stand while they're just fighting some of these turrets in Nexus, but it's to no avail. Just too far behind at this point. Had to make use a little bit earlier in the game. Props to them for putting up the fight, though. You see a lot of teams just give up at this moment and just, concede every objective. So it's too bad for Aquinas. They do lose the Nexus. Excellent win by Boulder. Just, again, pushing some of their leads and playing across the map. So congrats to Boulder.
Yeah, very dominant games by Boulder here. Veredix, I believe, if you are here to watch Colorado Boulder, would just like to thank you for tuning into our stream. If your school did not put on a stream, glad you could that we could provide that stream for you. But nonetheless, those were the games. Aquinas still has a fair share of struggles, but Colorado Boulder seems to be a very strong opponent here, early into the season. And I believe that does conclude our stream here tonight.
Follow us on Twitter at Aquinas Esports and on Instagram at Aquinas Esports as well. We'll be seeing you guys soon. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night and an awesome weekend.